Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Everybody, welcome to another Sports podcast. I am Joel Anderson.
I'm Jordan Pomaville.
And joining us as always is the sports outsider, Phil Ranta.
That's me. I'm the outsider because I don't know about sports.
I'm sick of you joining us and not just being with us.
Nope, I'm joining. I'm a special guest, and someday I will go away.
No.
Someday I'm gonna go away.
No.
It's like on TV shows when they have like the stars, but they have that person they know as like the big.
Oh, we already did the Gilligan Islands thing.
Yeah.
Is this the Gilligan's Island thing all over?
This is how this began.
Oh.
Joel, you're repeating. You only have a million things you could say in your life. You're starting to repeat them.
It's funny because that's not even something we did in like episode 10 or 20.
That was like 4 episodes ago.
It was
like fairly recent.
Ago,
and then Russell Johnson passed, and we were all very sad about that.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. The professor.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, it's got to be so boring. Our market research, which consists of one person, is
we're a minute and 7 seconds in the episode. And you're already talking about how boring it is.
Hey, Phil, you catch any episodes of Gilligan's Island this week?
I didn't. I haven't had the chance.
How about sports?
Nope, none of those either. Well, kind of the Olympics.
So by the transitive property, Gilligan's Island is sports.
Yeah, I watched this YouTube video.
No, I cannot agree with that.
This is my favorite sports thing I watched this week. I watched a fair amount of the Olympics. My favorite sports thing that I watched this week is someone on YouTube took a figure skating routine and added farts to it. And it was the funniest thing I had ever seen. Look it up, figure skating with farts.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update. Brought to you by...
Mentos feel the rush in your mouth.
Man, that was... You did tell him that they're not paying by the second.
Oh,
right?
I played it on double speed. I wanted to get through it.
We need to kind of...
Now that we're talking
stepping
about
it up,
it.
Joel.
At least we met the parameters of our sponsorship.
SEC Player of the Year, Michael Sam, comes out, semicolon, likely to be NFL's first openly gay player. Subheadline, Vladimir Putin still convinced Russian figure skating team entirely composed of heterosexuals.
He does.
Michael Sam publicly came out this week saying, I'm a proud gay man. He will likely become NFL's first openly gay player because while there's rampant innuendo, punters are a very secretive people.
That's true. I don't talk to
them at all. They really keep to themselves. They kind of just, this is 2 weeks before the Combine, and some of us said this wasn't the best timing, while others have countered that there's never a good time. There's never going to be a good time. I disagree.
Yeah.
I think after a badass sack, which leaves like the quarterback all concussed and shit, would be a pretty fucking great time to come out. What? I'm gay. What?
Yeah,
that would be a lot of confusion from the announcers. You're Troy Aikman, like, was that some sort of taunt, or did he really just come
That
out?
actually is a pretty awesome taunt. Even if you're straight, if you hit somebody really hard in a game, you should just be like,
This is a good
I'm
point.
gay. What?
I would love nothing more than for Michael Sam to utterly dominate the NFL for the next 15 years.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
And have like very outwardly effeminate celebrations for every sack that he has.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's going to be interesting about this is, we have the first professional football player openly gay. Hopefully there'll be more that, and I think ultimately this is going to lead to a subversion of some of sports' classic taunts.
Ooh.
Hey, say hi to your dad for me.
Oh,
that's not what your dad said last night.
Whoa.
And I fucked your dad last night.
Whoa, that one would be painful.
Also, I do have to say, when this story came out, I choked up a little bit. I was really thrilled about that.
That's Joel
And
says
I mean,
choked up when he means masturbate.
I was
Right,
going to say,
exactly.
that's exactly it.
This might turn really ugly, and I really hope it doesn't.
I don't think it will.
I think on some level I was just sort of like, this is actually a really big cultural step. It's kind of silly that it is, but it is.
And I think the next big cultural step would be a subversion of that taunt to, I fucked your parents.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Both of them at once.
No need to choose.
The first openly bisexual player in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. This is a Tim Tebow update, watch, update.
I was wondering when we were going to get to
very
that.
strange.
What does it have to do with Tim Tebow?
I'm sure he had a comment.
No, he didn't, actually.
Oh, never mind.
God Boy's really upset.
Tim Tebow also taunts people by saying he fucked their dad. No, just kidding.
Oh, I was going to say.
Some are saying, and by some I mean middle-aged white male columnists, that the media circus that followed Tebow around will pick up their stakes and follow Sam around, adding that some teams may not want to deal with that. They cite New York Jets players who began to get agitated when they were constantly asked about their second-string quarterback. I don't think this is apples to apples because the Jets sucked.
And apples to apples is hilarious. It's a very funny game.
And Tebow was a QB who had led the Broncos to the playoffs the season before, so the question they could keep asking was, should Tebow start?
Yeah.
Right? And they said, they could say, how did Tebow look in practice this week? They could ask that over and over of people. They cannot ask, how was Michael Sam's sexual orientation this week as opposed to last week over and over again?
I would. I'm curious. I'm very curious.
I don't think it's going to change. I think it's one of those they can ask the questions, all the Michael Sam questions, they're going to get out of the way in one training camp, and then it's they got no more material after that.
Incidentally, Jordan, you don't need to qualify columnist with middle age and white. We know.
But the comparisons to Tebow end once Sam enters the gridiron, as Michael Sam will be a real football player when he grows up. Tim Tebow, update, watch, update.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update. Brought to you by
Mentos, feel the rush in your mouth.
Okay. So let's see. What do we have on the show this week?
Well, we have we have an interview.
We have an interview
with someone
the
who was
artistic director
of
the opening ceremonies.
Yes, I watched those on silent. They were good.
Yeah.
I watched them with volume, and I was transfixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Cirque du Soleil show of many colors and flavors.
Yes, can't wait to have him on. His name is Pierre Valbone.
Ooh, that's a great name for a Russian.
Well, hey, the Russian court spoke French for some time. He could be of French descent and have moved to Russia.
That is true.
Yeah.
We also have that guy who's kind of a dick. That back Patrick Brandenburg.
Oh yeah, Brandenburg.
Kind of hacky newspaper man or something.
Yeah, the guy who's doing our Olympic coverage. Yeah,
Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yeah,
former writer.
They used to give those out to anyone.
I think he won a Peabody.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, but he's our correspondent.
We're really lucky to have him on our podcast.
No, I'm gonna put up a good face with him. I'm gonna show of good effort.
I'm gonna try,
right.
even though a Peabody is a really nerdy sounding award.
He is our official field correspondent, so he's gonna be at
you know
the
what?
Olympics
He better
reporting
start
each
acting
week.
like it. He
Yeah.
better start acting like it.
Okay. And I believe we also have a weird sportsman this week.
You're goddamn right we do.
Oh, we're goddamn right we do. And news.
News on the Sports podcast with Jordan, Joel, and Phil.
News. India's back in the Olympics.
About
Hey!
Subheadline, don't call it a comeback. Call it the IOC lifting India's ban, which was the result of rampant corruption on India's Olympic Committee.
I did not know about this.
Wait a second. India was banned from the Olympics?
If you were watching the opening ceremony with the volume on,
We didn't.
or the volume off, you may have noticed India's 3 Olympians were introduced at the opening ceremony.
India has Winter Olympians?
Yes, no, Joel.
He's about to say it
Oh
in
my
the story.
gosh! I introed the story as
I
back
can
in the.
still be shocked. I thought they were allowed back in, and then 2 years from now
Don't
they
they
would
have
actual
mountains in the
athletes.
northern part of India?
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
It's a
What,
rather large
Nepal?
country.
It is, yeah. But most of it's really hot.
All right, Joel.
Yeah.
Without their nation's flag, they were introduced. Without their nation's flag, they were introduced as just Olympians. Under
Free
the
agents.
Well, see, here's the thing: is the Olympic Association of India was suspended in December 2012 for electing what the IOC deemed were tainted officials. India's defense in the matter was, all of our officials are tainted. Give us a break.
Yeah.
If you don't, this is all we got.
For real, though.
So let me get the IOC was insisting that somebody else's IOC was corrupt.
Meow.
Oink.
I believe the pot is calling the kettle corrupt.
So when athletes come in like this, maybe you noticed this in the summer games when there were more teams, some teams that don't officially have countries, they go in under the Olympic flag. That's what they compete under. And it's so they got introduced as independent athletes and entered on the Olympic flag, which I have to imagine is really, really unsatisfying.
Yeah, it's like being the orphans of Olympic athletes.
Well, it's you got that flag. It's which ring is Asia? Green, maybe? I guess
really-
that's us.
That's racist, Jordan.
Really hope that one of them wins gold so we can watch the medal ceremony where it's just silence.
Yeah.
Well, wait. No. They got the ban lifted. There was a subheadline about this.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they did win and they didn't have a flag, they'd probably just play just a general, a Katy Perry song or something like that.
I
You're
came in
gonna
like a-
hear me roar. In order to get the ban lifted, the Indian Olympic Association had to hold new elections, which it finally did on Sunday. Then the IOC's executive board met and decided to reinstate them. But in order to relay this news to them, they had to wait on hold for 30 minutes before talking to a man with a thick accent named Todd, who kept trying to get them to sign up for a 1-month free trial of Shopper's Advantage.
Oh, zing. Oh, zing.
This week in Russian hotels. There was a note in a Russian hotel that it was tweeted that was quite humorous.
Okay.
It read, "Dear guest!" Exclamation point. Please do not put your personal belongings on the second bed. Otherwise, we will have to give you a bill for the use of the second bed and bedding. Signed, Hotel Administration.
Wow, they're badasses.
Well, in fairness, it's just their culture to assume most luggage would be filled with a human body.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm enjoying this Olympics so much more than usual because I'm like watching sports and knowing that sports writers and journalists are suffering at terrible Russian hotels. The two things combined are really, I'm loving it.
You put luggage body on second bed, we bill you for second bed.
It sounds scarier when you do it in that accent.
I know it's that Russian accent. Huh. American Olympians fly their freak flags. Just not their American flags because that would make them terrorism targets.
That's true.
The USA, House, and other athletes' locales are decidedly low-key. Flags, they're keeping flags at a minimum, both on buildings and clothing. It's a sharp contrast to many other Olympics where the American flag is flown freely.
Right, but it's actually more...
Constantly.
It's more like how Americans actually live.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have my flag constantly on everywhere I go, and I don't wear my flag.
That's too damn bad, Phil. That's too damn
I
bad.
should.
Some of us love this country.
Yeah.
Not, apparently,
If
I love
if
it.
I was an athlete, it's like if I played for a sports team, anytime I was with that team, I would wear those colors. This is that. That's the thing here. It's like it's not weird when you're playing for Team USA.
I guess that's true.
It's like if the San Antonio Spurs were over there, they might be playing San Antonio Spurs sweatsuits when they're not anyway.
Yeah.
So this is what they said. They said, "We have let them know some people don't consider Americans their favorites," said Scott Blackman, U.S. Olympic Committee CEO, in a press conference briefing last week, being hilariously diplomatic. He went on to say, if you wear non-American attire, it would attract less attention. Sure. Then adding, so would pumping the brakes on drone strikes, but that's not in the cards.
That's true.
Even though Sochi is in the heart of a security circle that encompasses thousands of square miles, American athletes and officials are being cautious because basically the Russians, when they told them about the security circle, told them like this. You should have nothing to worry about this circle, you see. You stray from circle, but you maybe won't be so fortunate with health well-being.
That would be scary.
Right? So even though you're in the circle, that's terrifying with that accent.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Still, Americans are trying to turn a negative into a positive. Said Stacy Cook, an alpine skier. You do see a lot of the countries putting up their flags in the village. Our presence, we want to make it known on the race hill, not in the village. Yeah, those out-of-reach grapes are probably really sour, girl.
Oh, snap.
Shaun White's half-pipe is most certainly not heaven. Subheadline, everyone hates the flying tomato.
Why?
I don't know. I just found this out.
Because
like
he
him.
sucks.
No, he's great. I like him.
Fourth place.
I
We
enjoy-
didn't send you to Russia to
He
get
came in fourth place?
Yeah.
in front of the
I was
Russians.
about to hear about it. No.
Yeah.
So despite bringing fame to the sport and basically getting into the Olympics,
Yeah.
it seems that there was snowboard jubilation over Shaun White's failure to medal.
Really?
Swiss Ori Padlekchizhov, nicknamed iPod, took home the gold and a cease and desist order from Apple. You know it's good for snowboarding, man, American teammate Danny Davis said of White finishing fourth, far behind iPod. The world knows that there are other snowboarders besides Shaun. It's great, man, because there are a bunch of good riders in our sport, and they deserve some credit too. He went on to say that White finishing fourth was a gift.
Whoa, that's mean.
Perhaps someone, somehow, courtesy of a judge, who in his or her mind's eye could picture Shaun White's flowing red locks doing a perfect 1080.
Yeah.
But he cut him, man. It's no good.
Jeez.
But someone had to be at least unhappy. If all these people were happy, someone had to be unhappy. And maybe it was a 10-year-old cancer survivor named Ben Hughes, who was a Shaun White mega fan and who got to go to the Sochi Games through the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh.
White's utter failure was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to young Ben Hughes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait. It's,
What could
you know
be
what?
worse?
I take it back. It's probably the second worst.
Right, yeah.
Probably the
I
second worst.
I could name one worse, and I only know what the sentence you read to me. So
Wait, So what was it? Did he not get what he wanted for his birthday?
White did not perform well. He featured more slips and falls than usual. But this may have been due to some advice he had received right prior to doing his half-pipe thing. Be careful on half-pipe. Some smart Alex snowboarders try to show Russian comrades up, and they have unfortunate accident.
Oh, that's scary.
They slip, they fall down, or errant biathlon bullet strikes in neck area just below helmet.
That's freaky.
That you might not perform well.
This is actually anytime we don't win medals in Sochi from here on out, I'm going to blame it on Russian sabotage.
Racist.
Joining us now is the artistic director for the opening ceremonies, and he's going to be again for the closing ceremonies. But he's going to talk to us about the creative process for coming up with the entire opening ceremonies. We now have Pierre Valbone.
Hello, it's welcome to be here.
Hey,
how's it
Pierre.
going?
Hello.
It's great to have you.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's good to be here.
Absolutely.
It is not. We usually have sports people on.
Well, I participated in the sports for the opening ceremonies of Sochi Olympics.
Yes.
I think it was a pretty stellar show.
Oh no, I watched it and I thought it was absolutely outstanding. It was,
I
was long.
I hear word that it would even be good listening to on mute.
and not as
Listening
good.
to on mute?
Watching,
I think, yeah.
watching,
Be nice. He's
watching it
probably
on
ESL.
mute.
Understood. Well, it was not without some controversy. I thought we'd just ask you about a few of the most notable moments that people remember.
Yes, I would love
And talk to you about the creative process. Maybe
Yes,
get you to explain some of what happened.
Yes, if you have any questions about what happened, now is the time.
Okay, well, could you tell us about the whole? I would say the children at the top of it.
Yeah.
The girl, and they had that. She had that.
Like the theme
The
with
young
the-
girl with the theme.
There was the young girl. There was the young girl at the top, and she was the snowflake princess.
Okay,
That young
Alright.
girl was actually my cousin.
your cousin.
Oh.
My cousin.
Is that nepotism in casting there, maybe?
Yes, her name is Nepotism. That was her name. Nepotism in casting was her name.
Wow, what a guess,
That was a
Joel.
very.
What a guess.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
surprised you know that.
It
was very
Really
impressive.
followed pretty closely.
I mean,
there.
and also part of her process was she was actually flying for a portion of the ceremony.
Yes.
She was hooked up to that. Could you tell us a little bit about the
Oh,
rehearsals
yes.
with that?
I have another cousin. The other cousin owns a crane factory.
A what
A
factory?
crane
Oh,
factory.
sorry, I thought you said a crayon.
And we attached wire from the cranes of my cousin's crane, and then we flew her to the sky so that everyone could see little Nepotism
Okay.
fly
That's really weird.
with
that-
help of crane.
That's kind of funny that you had the connection there with your cousin and
It-
this
Yes,
girl.
I feel like everyone did see nepotism. Absolutely.
Yes, it was the entire country came together.
So,
Making girl
So it
fly.
sounds like the theme was derived almost entirely from sort of relatives in the industry that they're working in.
Well, I mean, it's about the art first. It's
And-
not just about.
and when you're talking about art, I got to
Yes.
talk about the projections on the bottom of the
Oh,
stage.
yes.
That was just absolutely
It
outstanding.
made you look like you were swimming through early cinema.
Yeah, it was
taking a
fascinating.
travel.
It was like the most visually stunning thing I've seen since Avatar. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so the inspiration for the projection is so how do you say my cousin owns a light bulb for projector company. Very high power. They're very. It works best from 500 yards away or farther.
Right,
So
these are very high-powered
he
light
does
bulbs.
not sell. His family has been very hungry because not many opportunities to buy those light bulbs. So I said, you know what? I bring you on to this Olympics.
Okay, that
Okay,
makes
well-
sense. You don't see a lot of those
One thing
high-powered
that,
light bulbs.
another thing that a lot of people were talking about, though, I believe the Ministry of Internal Affairs police choir
Oh yes.
performed their rendition of Daft Punk's "Get Lucky."
Dave Punk's Get Lucky.
Oh, that was this year's
yeah.
Hot Summer
It
Jam.
was the Hot Summer Jam.
Was it the Hot Summer Jam in Russia too?
It was very popular in Russia, but more importantly, I've got some cousins in France.
Yeah. Oh,
Because my name is Pierre, and
Right.
Daft Punk is also my cousins.
wow, that's wow, that's
Do you
quite.
know why
yes,
they
that
wear
was-
those big motorcycle helmets?
Yeah.
Why do they wear those?
Because I have another cousin who makes motorcycle helmets.
he makes
That's why
he makes
he
motorcycle.
crafts them out of motorcycle helmet materials.
Gonna be honest, Pierre, that was not the family connection I was expecting.
No, there's Daft Punk is.
I thought it was maybe gonna be the
film.
police choir, but Daft Punk. Okay.
No. I also have a cousin who is secretary for police. So she wanted day off. She got the day off by sending them out to sing my cousin's Daft Punk.
Yes, absolutely. So I hate to do this, but we do want to delve into a little bit of the controversy. A lot of people couldn't help but notice that in the sort of history of Russia that was being told, the Soviet era was presented in sort of a very positive light and sort of glossed over things like the era of Stalin. Stalin, who I believe founded the city of Sochi, definitely built it up. How do you respond to maybe the criticism that you attempted to sort of whitewash your national history?
No, well, you do not want to talk about sad things. Then anyways, Stalin, we kicked him out of the family. We said after he was doing all so many, how you say, messed up things. After he was doing that, we said, "You're no longer my cousin," and I kicked him out.
So
and
Joseph
I said,
Stalin was one of your cousins.
Yep, and he is now. I said, if someday I ever put together the opening of Olympics, you'll not be in it.
Wow.
And I stuck to my AK-47s.
Yes.
I stuck to my AK-47s.
Pretty brave to say that to Stalin.
He was bummed. He was a little bummed out at first, but I think he understood.
Usually when Stalin was bummed, other people got bummed really quick.
I think we have different interpretation of the word bummed.
Well, let's briefly. Let's maybe if we
Yes.
could round this out and talk about the lighting of the torch. The most majestic thing is when they have the Russian athletes running out. You had Maria Sharapova, who, by the way, at 7 feet tall, she is twice as large as Bob Costas.
Oh, yes.
But
And
she was part of it.
3 times as gorgeous.
2.5. But you talk a little bit about the lighting of the torch, because I thought that's my favorite part of any ceremony.
Oh, yes, and to be honest, the Olympic Committee, they say maybe we light the torch, maybe we don't light the torch. I haven't decided if it'll be part of the opening ceremony. And I said, you know what? I've got a cousin who owns a match factory. We could get that torch lit for you for the right price. We did. We took the match, we lit the torch, and then gave it to cousin Sharapova.
Also a cousin.
Yes.
And she ran out there with the other athlete.
Vladislav Tretiak.
Vladislav Tretiak, yes, another cousin
one of the greatest
mine.
goalies
Yes.
in the history of hockey.
Yep.
Lit the torch along with
You should
unblinking-
see him at the family hockey games we do at reunions. He stop puck and stop puck and stop puck.
That's wow, a very talented guy. Very large family you have, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, you seem like you come from a very industrious family.
Actually, in America, I don't think you'll have this where all of your country make sex with each other, and everybody is practically everybody's
I
cousin.
don't know that we
That's
have that.
there's actually laws that kind of
Well, I mean,
prohibit
if you-
that we put
I've heard
in place.
if you go back far enough, it actually,
Well, aside from that, is there anything else you can tell us, maybe to kind of close this out in terms of the beauty of the
we
ceremony?
haven't really talked about the deeper meaning of the opening ceremony.
Well,
okay. Well,
what
we hit
was
the
it?
theme real quick, but what would you say the deeper meaning was?
The major theme of the opening Olympics was, who in my family can I get to do stuff very cheaply, so we keep leftover budget to build another cathedral, so they don't keep cutting to the same shot over and over again.
Yeah, St. Basil's Basil's Cathedral,
Saint Basil's.
which is in Moscow, over 1,000 miles away from Sochi.
Yes. Do you know who it was built by?
One of your cousins?
No, I actually don't know. I was asking a question.
Ivan the Terrible.
Ah, he is a cousin.
Right?
Oh, there
He
it
is
is.
a cousin of mine.
All
And
right.
let me guess, you have a cousin who builds cathedrals. He
You-
probably is not getting a lot of work. People have not been building so many cathedrals over the last.
Just you wait until the closing ceremonies.
All
right,
right.
well-
Well, thank you for joining us, Pierre.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was great having you on. I'm sure you got to get back to Russia for more preparation of the closing ceremonies. It's actually a little amazing that you took time to fly all the way here for this, so we really thank you.
You're welcome.
Joining us now on the Manziel hotline. Put your man booms in a Manziel today.
Yes.
Your boobs.
Your man boobs.
Man boobs in a
Manziel.
Manziel today is Patrick Brandenburg, our esteemed colleague and new member of the Sports podcast, broadcasting live from Sochi.
Yes, hello. I hate to bring it up in the air. I am having a little trouble cashing my checks, both for my per diem and my salary out
Hey,
here.
come on,
Hey,
man.
come on.
Just-
Don't bring
I
that
thought
up on the air.
You're a
How
part
tacky.
of, yeah.
I
one
just haven't been able
gauche.
to get anybody on the
Two,
phone.
you're at
in
the
accounts.
Olympics. Enjoy yourself. This is a celebration of the human
Really
spirit.
can't enjoy myself.
Let's
without
talk
any
about this
cash.
offline,
on.
Patrick.
Okay,
Come on, Patrick.
understood. You
Really.
promise you won't hang up on me this time because I wanted to discuss.
I'm
this.
not making any
Patrick.
promises, Patrick.
Okay, all
Tell
right.
us what you're finding there at the Olympics.
Well, the big news today, today being Thursday, a track worker was injured. He was out working on the bobsled track when the first sled of
like
the
the
day
luge?
went down.
bobsled. It was
Yeah.
a luge or bobsled?
Was it a
It
luge?
was bobsled.
Oh,
Okay.
You know what's nuts is the luge, though.
The luge is weird.
That is terrifying.
True.
Yeah.
What about skeleton? Have you seen skeleton?
Oh, when it's like you can't see either?
No,
Well, I'm
they're like going head first. It's like
Glad
Yeah,
you
like,
brought up the
I'm
luge
going to
here.
break this speed with my face.
Yeah,
Right,
the
it's-
speeds that they're going approach 100 miles per hour. It's very dangerous.
it's like they took the
mind,
luge and made it
Yeah.
even more dangerous.
Right.
the track worker
It's
due to a
almost
faulty PA system had both legs broken, and it brings to mind the 2010
Why are we talking
games
about
when
a
Jordan
PA
Luger
worker? Why aren't we
Right.
talking
Notre
about the
Dame is-
athletes?
This is supposed to
Patrick,
be about the
no,
Olympics.
this is you're so
was
boring.
killed. He was actually killed when
Why
he
are
flew
we-
off of the
oh.
track and hit
Hey,
a.
what would happen if you were at the top of a luge track and someone just pushed you down and they're like, skeleton luger? You'd probably do just as well.
Probably because it's
that's-
icy,
Yeah,
right?
you
not
just
true at all.
slide
You'd probably
down.
fly off the course and die, just like
What do you-
Georgian Luger, Nodar,
How
David
can you?
Kamerfi,
Why are you
and-
bringing us down, Patrick?
I'm not trying to bring it
Celebration
down.
of the human spirit.
I'm
Going
trying to have
down
a
the
serious
luge
conversation about
looks
the
like one of the
safety of these
coolest
events.
things you could ever do.
Yeah, but not the two-person luge.
I don't know. I think that's still pretty cool. You just
No.
gotta be really comfortable with each other.
You have to be
two-person-
really comfortable with each other. It looks like you're having gay sex.
Well, speaking of which,
Yes.
what would you say? I know there's been a lot of controversy in Russia. What is the gayest Olympic sport?
Oh, yeah.
That's an extremely insensitive question, given the extremely restrictive
Oh
laws.
Come
my
on,
gosh,
we're in America.
Patrick.
Gay is
Actually,
the
Pick
did not
best
get
a
a
thing to
sport.
say.
It was an
Discussed it
easy
last time.
question. I asked you a question. Gayest
Okay.
sport. You give me one sport. End of question.
This piece was not meant to delve into that. Last week's piece was, but this time I would really like to talk about whether or not it is safe. And
We're talking about it now, Patrick.
Yes, and we asked you a straightforward question. We just want a straightforward answer.
I really wanted to open some sort of
It's
discussion.
figure skating. There,
There
okay,
we go.
it's figure
Obviously,
skating.
it was
I'll
a
answer my own
slam
question.
dunk.
Yes, well,
Oh
not
my
any
God.
athletes have died in figure skating. 15 bobsledders have died during
sick of
international
this.
Look,
I'm
this
sick
is
of
boring.
You know what?
Look, get
Bye.
your shit together.
I hung up on him.
Thank you.
That guy, unbelievable.
He doesn't play team like in a team.
No, he starts bringing up an expense report, talking about his expenses and not getting paid. Like, come on, man.
I don't like him.
I'm not. Do you want to pick it up?
No.
All right, next segment. Let's
Yeah,
do Weird
next
Sportsmen.
segment. For you, the listeners of Sports Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend a wonderful book called The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Joel saw the movie. He said that it was okay. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Again, that's audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network for your free audiobook. And now it's time for another Weird Sportsman! Weird Sportsman.
What do we
got
got?
this week?
Who's weird?
This week's Weird Sportsman, Turk Wendell.
I don't think I've heard the name Turk Wendell before.
You should have, because he's a weird sportsman. Stephen John Turk Wendell, born May 19th, 1967 in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, is a former Major League Baseball right-handed relief pitcher from 1993 to 2004.
What was it? Turk what?
Turk Wendell.
Who'd he play for?
You know what? Actually, this sounds vaguely familiar now.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Wendell was drafted by the Atlanta Braves in 1988. He was a fifth-round selection and made his professional debut with the Pulaski Braves of the Appalachian League in June 1988. He made his first major league appearance in June 17th, 1993. Wendell.
With which team?
I'm gonna get to all his teams.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
He was MLB. Was with the Chicago Cubs.
It was in the MLB, though. Very, very good, Phil.
There we go. Wendell was also named the most superstitious athlete of all time by Men's Fitness.
Oh, wow. And Men's Fitness, an authority on athlete superstition.
I was going to say, when that list comes out every year,
everyone checks it.
especially the superstitious athletes,
Yeah.
they run to the newsstands that still exist in some parts of the country.
Yeah. Super bad luck not to make that list.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so he had a college career, he had a major league career, he came off to a rocky start, he became a solid reliever and fan favorite, he had a plateau, he had a decline. Segment called Speaking His Mind.
I feel like no baseball player has ever spoke his mind and had it wind up being a good idea.
Usually not a good
I
idea.
can't think of any of, well, I guess maybe Jackie Robinson, but
Well, here's Turk Wendell's mind. Wendell made a name for himself not only through his pitching and personality, but through his outspoken nature as well. One of the most notable examples came in 2004 during the heart of the public debate over Major League Baseball's steroid problem. When asked about Barry Bonds, one of the most controversial figures of the debate, Wendell said that Bonds obviously took steroids, noting the fact that Bonds' trainer had admitted to giving steroids to baseball players and that Bonds' physical appearance strongly suggested steroid use. Bonds responded aggressively, telling Wendell, "You got something to say? You say it to my face and we deal with each other. Don't talk through the media like you're some sort of tough guy."
and it should be said, Turk Wendell was completely right. He was saying what everyone was dancing around at that period in time.
Right.
Which
This
was
is not
like,
that weird. It's just outspoken.
Nope.
Sounds like an outspoken sportsman.
Right, but he had to speak through the media like all tough guys do.
Well, yeah.
Because tough guys don't speak face-to-face. They speak
Yeah.
through the media, apparently. This was not the first time Wendell had been known to ruffle some people's feathers, however.
Ooh.
In early 2001, Vladimir Guerrero, then playing for the Montreal Expos,
Not
took-
Russian.
Not
Not
Russian.
Russian.
Nope. He took
Dominican,
exception to being hit by Wendell. Wendell remarked, "If he doesn't like it, he can freaking go back to the Dominican and find another line of work."
Wow.
Which would probably still be baseball player, just not very high paying.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very nice Dominican
still,
leagues.
still the same kind. Less than a
He'd
month
be
later,
the best player in the Dominican League. That'd probably be
I'm sure it's true.
Yeah.
Less than a month later, Wendell was ejected from a game against St. Louis Cardinals for throwing behind batter Mike Matheny.
Mike Matheny. Yes,
Yep.
I remember this. Yeah.
After the game, Wendell asked rhetorically, "When Rick Ankiel is out there and he throws balls everywhere, why don't they throw him out of the game?"
Was he throwing his own teammate under the bus?
I don't know.
Wait, he was pitching for the
was in
Cardinals.
St. Louis.
Oh, so he was a Cub then.
He was
Yeah,
the
it was
pitcher.
against the Cardinals.
Oh, right, Mike Matheny was a Cardinal.
This is funny because Rick Ankiel was not trying to throw behind people. He was
Yes.
just incapable of doing anything else.
He had the yips. He had
Yeah.
some.
He wasn't good.
He kind of became a head case and
he had
couldn't
some
pitch
weird
anymore.
mental breakdown that he couldn't throw accurately, and that's really important.
But let's
Oh,
talk
exactly.
about more about Turk.
On the eve of the 2000 World Series between the Yankees and Met, Wendell is quoted as having said, "Yankee Stadium, I don't give a hoot about it. We've played there before. It won't be a surprise. The Yankees have tortured us for years and years, and beating them would be sweet for me." During the Yankee celebration of their win, it is reported that every 5 minutes someone would call for a toast to Turk Wendell in his face. In numerous interviews, Wendell repeatedly told reporters that he wanted to play his last season of baseball for free. "I wanted my last season to be a testament to the game," said Wendell. "I only wanted a few things out of life: a wife, children, to play baseball, and to hunt deer." When he was informed that the Players Association would not allow him to play for free, Wendell said, "Then I'll drop out of the union when the time comes."
Wow.
Turk Wendell
really
is
like
the
this
man.
guy.
Yeah, he likes to hunt deer.
Yeah.
In March 2006, Wendell was quoted by the suburban Chicago Daily Herald as believing that former Cubs teammate Sammy Sosa, of course, used steroids. Wendell alleged that Sosa's home run totals increased significantly only after he began to use steroids. He also stated that everybody in baseball, including coaches, managers, and owners, knew about steroid use by players such as Sosa, and he agreed that the information in Jose Canseco's book juiced.
Yeah, it sounds like, isn't it kind of funny how Turk Wendell here is merely stating things that, especially in retrospect, were plainly obvious facts.
Yeah.
And he's considered weird by the sports media.
Us.
Specifically.
But enough about the controversial stuff.
Yeah.
We just heard mentioned earlier that he was voted #1 in men's fitness for being the most superstitious
Oh, that's
player.
right. I had
So let's hear
forgotten
about that.
So
What did
I'm
he do?
jumping over to the men's fitness article to read this little bit.
Okay.
Let's begin with the lesser of Wendell's quirks. The major league pitcher would always draw 3 crosses in the dirt on the pitcher's mound, and he insisted all figures in his contracts ended in 99 so as to match his jersey number.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
like a
those are
Walmart.
fine.
And
Gotta be
honestly,
right with
the
Jesus before you
crosses,
pitch.
not that weird. A lot of
Holy
players in the
Trinity.
batting box, well, a lot of players in batting box do that or
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. That's not too weird.
Right, and the next sentence says, now, those things aren't so bad, right?
Correct.
Well,
I agree, Men's Health.
it gets weirder. An avid hunter, Wendell always made sure he wore trophies from his exotic kills when he pitched.
Wait, what?
That meant wearing things like mountain lion
Was
claws.
he the pitcher with the antlers? Was that?
Nah, that was, he had mountain lion claws. He had wild boar teeth on strings around his neck. Okay, that's a little creepy, isn't it? Well, how about this?
How about it?
While pitching, Wendell always had 4 pieces of hard licorice candy in his mouth. After every single inning, the nutball would sprint to the dugout, leaping over the foul line, of course, and brush his teeth. When it was time to head back on the mountain, he'd pop 4 more pieces of candy into his mouth, and the cycle would begin again.
It's kind of odd. Kind of odd.
And I have to say this because it's in the article. And you thought the guy in the cubicle next to you was weird just because he takes his shoes and socks off after lunch.
That guy is
boy.
weird, though.
Boy.
Men's fitness. Men's
Big
fitness
props
writer.
to who's the guy who wrote that men's fitness article?
Doesn't.
Pretty sure it was Jackass Magoo.
Howard Cozumel.
He does a lot of
Compiled by
writing.
staff.
Yeah,
exactly.
compiled by staff. Yeah, so that's he was. I think it's weird he wore dead things on his body.
That is very odd.
I think if I were hunting animal, I might. If I killed a mountain lion, yeah, I'd wear its claws.
And that brings an end to another Weird Sportsman. Oh, Peter,
Citizens of Podcast Town, this brings to the close another sports podcast. But before we go, Phil would like to give you our contact information.
You can email us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. That's sportspodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at sports3podcast. That's at sports3podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching sports podcast. Your little top bar thinking. You can find us on Stitcher Radio. Download the Stitcher app today at stitcher.com and search sports podcast. You can find us on YouTube by going to youtube.com/comedypodnet. That's youtube.com/comedypodnet. While you're there, please subscribe. You can find us on iTunes by searching sports3 space podcast. That's sports3 all one word space podcast. Or you can find all of our back episodes at comedypodcastnetwork.com.
Oh my God, guys! I just remembered where the name Pierre Valbone is familiar from.
Where?
He was the reference and the guy we hired to edit the last few episodes.
So we hired one. We hired
one of his cousins.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay, lights off.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.